Now at 5, it is pouring right now in the backyard. In fact, we're tracking a severe thunderstorm in Carver County, and you can actually see that one near Glencoe, about to roll over 169 near Belle Plaine. We have another severe thunderstorm near Wilmer. We're going to track this out in seconds.
Also coming up, the Ramsey County Attorney's Office reveals its findings after reviewing hundreds of cases handled by the former medical examiner.
Plus, an update on the search for the next police chief in Minneapolis and a timeline for that process.
A motion to recess and the divisive debate over data centers and why experts say we're seeing so much pushback. The news starts now. Well, as we come on the air, heavy rain and a few strong thunderstorms are moving around the metro right now. It is all, of course, happening as the evening commute is underway. Thanks for joining us at 5 on air and streaming live. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos.
And I'm Kevin Holmes. These storms have led to heavy downpours across the region this afternoon with a few rumbles of thunder and some hail as well. Yeah, it's all triggered a weather impact alert in place until midnight tonight. Let's get right out to Chief Meteorologist John Ziegler, keeping a close eye on these storms. We need to tell people what they need to know they can plan tonight.
A lot going on here tonight. Dave Matthews concert, the Twins game. Let me talk about this in a second. I will say it's actually beneficial we're getting the storms in the early evening here. Maybe we get lucky later on. There's that severe storm, southern part of Carver County, about to clip Scott County. Another nasty storm down here towards Red Wing. Then more of these isolated little supercells, one near Wilmer and one just to the west of Bemidji. In the metro, it is raining good here. Not a lot of lightning out here towards Plymouth. Again, the strongest storms are to the south. There's a couple rumbles out there, and you can see it kind of goes in waves. Woodbury rain, Stillwater, finally everybody getting it. Here's the severe thunderstorm. This is dropping quarter-size hail and winds up to 60 miles per hour. That's coming into Belle Plaine, so tracking this out in Belle Plaine. It's going to get there at 5:18. Jordan at around 5:32. So it's going to be rolling across 169 here in the coming minutes. So again, 169, that's going to be a tough spot to drive, obviously a busy road. Also looking at this cell here, this one near Cannon Falls, you can see coming in, this is going to be TI near Treasure Island. That's going to be strengthening. We're keeping an eye on this one towards Red Wing. Red Wing, gear up for a strong thunderstorm. Talking about that cell near Wilmer, this is a severe thunderstorm coming into you. That thunderstorm is dropping quarter-size hail at the moment, and we have seen a lot of rain, 1 to 2 inches across the metro, and it's still raining. This is a soaking, dare I say, drought-busting rain. We'll take a look at all these storms and time it out for you in your forecast.
All right, John, thank you. And these storms are moving through right now, and you can scan that QR code that you can see on your screen. They'll give you details about downloading our app so that you can get the forecast and updates anytime.
The Ramsey County Attorney's Office has finished an enormous undertaking, double-checking the work of the county's former medical examiner. And after an outside review, no murder convictions will be overturned. But there are some important takeaways for future cases. Lou Raguse joins us with a closer look. Lou?
Kevin, based on Dr. Michael McGee's unreliable testimony exposed in other counties, Ramsey County paid $380,000 to review his 215 cases there, zeroing in on 7 in which McGee's testimony was critical to the end result. And in those cases, they did not find wrongdoing by McGee.
We needed to do a comprehensive look back on every case in which he was involved.
Ramsey County Attorney John Choi delivering the highly anticipated results of their review of cases involving former Chief Medical Examiner Michael McGee, who from 1985 through 2021 performed autopsies and testified in murder trials in St. Paul and across the state. No Ramsey County cases will be overturned.
Our review, as well as the Prosecutor Center for Excellence, concluded that any errors in the testimony of Dr. McGee did not impact the outcome of the trial.
The review began after a federal judge removed the death penalty for Alfonso Rodriguez in the 2003 murder of college student Drew Shadeen, noting Dr. McGee's false and misleading testimony. Also outside of Ramsey County, Michael Hansen's conviction for killing his infant daughter was overturned, and Thomas Rhodes was released from prison after initially being convicted of murdering his wife. Both cases altered, mainly because of the testimony from McGee that was later deemed unreliable. McGee defended himself in the past.
I didn't give incorrect testimony. I gave correct testimony to the best of my ability from what we knew then, and I think it still is true.
Regarding Ramsey County cases, Choi says while McGee's testimony did not impact the end results, Choi sees problems with how McGee approached his job.
Yeah, I think he viewed his role to be helpful to the state's interest. I believe that medical examiners, their role is to be helpful, to get to the truth.
Now, helpful to the state's interest, of course, means getting convictions. There is one case in Ramsey County where the review is not quite finished. It's a case where someone pleaded guilty and already has served their prison time. I left a message with McGee for comment today, but have not heard back. Kevin.
So today focused on cases across Ramsey County. What do we know about other cases across the state, Lou?
Well, at the last press conference they did like this, they mentioned that the Minnesota Attorney General's office was looking at 11 different convictions across the state that were based off of his testimony. And I checked back with them. They said that those are still ongoing.
All right, we'll wait and see. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
One of the first protesters charged after pushing back on immigration enforcement in her state was back in federal court today after most of the charges against her had been dropped. But today, Isabel Lopez pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and will not face any jail time. Ian Russell was in the courtroom today, joins us now with more. Ian.
Rena, Isabel Lopez was arrested last summer after the federal government said she assaulted law enforcement during a narcotics raid on Lake Street. She's one of the first protesters arrested before ICE and Metro Surge really popped up in the Twin Cities. The feds also said Lopez punched an FBI agent when she was arrested days later. In the years since then, Lopez and her attorneys and federal prosecutors reached a plea agreement that would see Lopez plead guilty to a single misdemeanor. Prosecutors were looking for no more than a year of probation as well, but the judge ultimately ruled that Lopez had served her time when she was arrested and did not sentence her to any probation. Lopez spoke after this afternoon's sentencing.
Just like a lot of celebration, a lot of love. At the end of the day, like, again, it's not about me, it's about everybody else. It's about the fact that I'm not the only one that's scared. There's more people here that are scared. There's more people here that was volunteering and helping during Metro Surge, you know, and like during this year, I was behind the scenes. I didn't do a lot of frontline work, but a lot of people here did, and it was extremely scary.
Federal prosecutors argued that 1 year of probation was sufficient, but not over the top. Lopez's attorneys argued that this was an isolated incident, adding that the year of probation was unnecessary. Now, I did also speak with a former U.S. attorney about this case. I'll have more from our conversation and Lopez's reaction coming up at 6, Rena.
All right, Ian, thank you.
Wolf over at the live desk. Shocking new details emerging in a crash investigation out of Woodbury late Saturday night. A man was arrested and appeared in court this morning where prosecutors allege that he was driving with more than 3 times the legal limit. Ernest Gua is facing multiple DWI related charges after investigators say that he crashed into a street sign, multiple homes, electrical boxes, and street poles. Police say that officers detected a strong odor of alcohol from the car and believe that he was unable to complete the field sobriety test. Investigators say that he then refused a blood and urine test. Even a warrant was served. According to the criminal complaint, homeowners heard the crash and then later smelled a strong odor of gas indicating a leak. So then people in the area were evacuated until gas officials determined that it was safe. Fortunately, no one was hurt in this crash here. Gua is due back in court in August, and prosecutors say that he does not have a history of previous impaired driving convictions.
All right, Morgan, thank you. The city of Minneapolis sharing new details and a timeline for selecting its next police chief. Now, this comes about a month after former Chief Brian O'Hara's sudden resignation. Mayor Jacob Fry says filling this role is a priority and is expecting a lengthy 4-month process. This includes gathering information from officers and city council focus groups on what they'd like to see in their next leader. From there, the nationwide search will begin. There are multiple rounds of interviews planned, and the mayor hopes to have a new chief nominated and confirmed in October or November.
Within the next hour, Republican state lawmakers are holding a town hall in response to all the Medicaid providers the state terminated earlier this month. More than 3,000 were disenrolled during a revalidation process in order to crack down on fraud. Some say they were wrongly targeted, and if they can't bill for the services, they may have to shut down. We'll have the very latest on this story coming up tonight at 10.
The Inver Grove Heights City Council will decide later this week whether to enact a 1-year moratorium on data center developments in the community. This after a contentious meeting last night that ended abruptly. The council moved to delay a vote on the moratorium after members wanted to consider new information just received. The developer QLever is proposing to build a 54,000 square foot data center on Carmen Avenue East. While the council previously approved a 1-year moratorium twice before, a third and final reading is needed for it to take effect. Dakota County Commissioner Joe Atkins said on Facebook the developer has threatened litigation if the proposal is not approved. Here's what happened after council members recessed.
No, the motion to recess and reconvene is carried.
Well, coming up on Breaking the News, Heidi Wigdahl talks with an expert about what he's seen in Minnesota with data centers and what the path forward could look like.
Today's show host Savannah Guthrie is renewing calls for helping to find her missing mother. It follows reports of a new note sent to media outlets indicating Nancy Guthrie had died. Nancy was reported missing from her Tucson area home on February 1st, and the details around her disappearance remain a mystery. Her daughter Savannah today sharing an emotional plea.
And we are in agony. And we cannot be at peace. So no matter how much I try to come out here every day and smile and find that joy, and I will, I promise I will. This is a moment to tell you that we need your help.
20 weeks later, investigators still have not identified anyone responsible for Nancy's disappearance, only releasing these doorbell camera images of a masked suspect. The FBI and the Guthrie family are both offering rewards in this case.
To the Middle East now, President Trump doubled down today, saying Iran fully agrees to nuclear inspections long into the future as part of talks on a permanent deal to end the war. But Iran denies making that concession. President Trump claims if the Iranians didn't agree, there would be no further negotiations. Now, it all comes as the Senate, for the first time, approved the War Powers Resolution this afternoon, calling on Trump to remove U.S. forces from the region unless authorized by Congress. The House passed the same measure earlier this month. Coverage of this developing story continues at 5:30 on NBC Nightly News.
Still ahead here at 5, another major closure in the South Metro along 494 for the next 2 nights.
Plus, we catch up with Special Olympics track and field athletes in their quest for gold.
And we're closely watching the skies as heavy rain pushes through tonight. John's back in about 4 minutes with a closer look at the timing for the rest of your evening.
Ever heard of death cafes?
I hope that people feel a sense of comfort.
The concept behind them, and one getting started right here in the Twin Cities. Wednesday at 10 on air and everywhere you stream.